Well, hello everyone. Here to show you the color wildlife coloring right here. Is that you see right here is a picture of a reindeer. It is. You see you have a right here is a deer, and it could be a reindeer or a stag, any type of deer like that with say big antlers. It is. But you got right here is you got this coloring, and basically what I shown right here is in this coloring right here is talking about reindeer. It's talking about other than reindeer, but it's talking about deer. Is that you would have it to where that if it's like you go out and and see a deer, it is, and a lot of times it's like that they could maybe look like you say brown, or could maybe I don't know about green type colors, but I'm just what you call just and then the outlines of course at first. But you got right here is a deer, and I'll go ahead and add right here is you got that top of say the face of the deer right there. But then of course it's stuff is with planet Earth, and basically this part of this coloring right here is talking about is the fact about the subjects that I learned I remember in the seventh grade. It is that with most of us here, if we ever heard of what you call life science, and of course that it was a type of science that you really study about the different life which say on planet Earth, and we may have done some studies about say I don't know if it's archaeology or anything like that about other life that could have been on Mars or anything like that, or you should say of other sources of life on on the other planets. It's like so far as in our solar system, but this is like what you call like a science type study right here. It's talking about deers, and then of course with other wild nature it is. But you got right here is the deer right there, and then of course it's like take the orange, but you have it to where that I remember that whenever I was in school, that a lot of times that I remember that I was in a regular class there at first, for those I think for those first couple of days, and I remember that the type of projects that they had you do, of course, did not have anything really that I remember have anything to do with the coloring. A lot of it was mainly about it's like they would want you to write down notes, and then they would give you folders, and then do stuff like this. They would have you write down in the notebook, say maybe a few paragraphs about a story. They would want you to read a book and stuff like that. And the way to my opinion about how you learn stuff is that really that reading a book is like that I think that it's very important. It is to read a book, but then on the other hand too is maybe to give the student that capability of maybe a learning how how the deer, or where they live, study about say the life science and stuff like that, maybe in a manner that whatever they can imagine, so far as what where their mind takes them. And with most students, with most students nowadays, I guess that they have it to where that they are playing with their with their their iPods, or or getting on Facebook, whatever it is. But other than that, is talking about with life sciences is studying about that. It's like if kids were to do their homework, and I remember whenever I was younger that I used to always ask my parents. It's like that I don't know why the school wants me to do homework, because on the other hand too I may not have all the right supplies. And of course it's like that nowadays I'm like I got quite a few supplies nowadays compared to what I had back in the old days. It's like either the parents cannot afford them, or maybe that it's like just about the time and effort just to get stocked up on whatever supplies that you need just to do your homework, your research homework. But then on the other hand too, that you probably think about it's like about that it could be other sources of wildlife. It could be other sources of wildlife. It could be wild. It could be bulls, or it could be buffaloes or horses, stuff like that. and other sources of wildlife, bears and leopards, those type of wildcats. But other than that, is talking about with the deer right here. That I remember I was in special education classes, for this reason, in my classes, a lot of times in the special ed classes, that a lot of times that they would allow you to do a few colorings about, talking about such and such project. And I remember that one of the colorings was not really about a deer. One of those was about the tundra. I remember that I did a research project about it's like just use a regular piece of poster board. It wasn't really anything done on a computer, really anything that's related to the computer, like nowadays that they have it to where they had Wi-Fi. And I remember that back in the year 1997 it was, and of course that 34-bit, or we say of say memory of 34, you say RAM, MPG, I guess what the amps are what they call it, the speed of the internet, that type of speed right there for for the internet. If it's 32 bits per second or anything like that, that more likely that it's like that really back in 1997 it was, not too many people really knew what that was, but other than that talk about a study with about the wildlife is talk about what you got right here is with the deer. With the deer that a lot of us would probably think about is that where they come from. Maybe it could be what you say is South Dakota. You used to say, or you say you can maybe find them in the woods or anything like that. And a lot of people say if you were to do research about any type of wild animal in nature, it's like they are found in parts of Wisconsin or as you say. But other than that, you can find deer about almost all over, and maybe parts of Louisiana too, that you may find a few sources of wildlife out there. But other than that, is talk about with wildlife that you have right here is that you got the deer right here, and then along calculate about knowing about the types of locations you'll be able to find them. But other than that, you got right here is the deer, and a lot there with planet Earth right here, and it's like talking about it's like with the brown. Knowing about this, the study about the wildlife right here is like the color wildlife. Knowing about is like what type of color you usually see them in, and then of course where they come from, etc., etc. It's like the study about the wildlife, and then knowing about really about if it's what you call a special class, or if it's what you call homeschooling, whatever it is know that the study about the wildlife, about life science, is basically is a science. A science in which study takes study takes place takes place for how life and nature. How life and nature see the nature, how nature begins, see how they begin, and all of it, and then along with the study about knowing about it's like the nature about how they live, and then of course a few other things too. It's like knowing about the fact that it's been years since I've taken that type of course, but then on the other hand too, one thing to remember by is really about the study is like about where they come from and where they live, and maybe where they live now. But other than that, it's like so far as the color is like the color wildlife coloring.